revolution is about stopping this creeping dictatorship. This is the people's revolution.
Political leader, Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, fellow speakers on this Monday virtual report, parliamentary colleagues, friends and supporters of the United National Congress, a pleasant good evening to all of you. Tonight, I begin by asking you, my brothers and sisters, are you enjoying a better quality of life today than you did 7 years ago? To the business community, is your business safer today than it was way back in 2015? My brothers and sisters, do you feel safer today than you were when Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa was the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago? These are some questions that we have been asking across the length and breadth of our country, and the answers have been a resounding no. No, brothers and sisters. Citizens of this country are living in fear. They know that the PNM have failed to keep them safe. If we look at the murder toll for the year, it has crossed 530, and it is a difficult number to keep count. Because you see, my brothers and sisters, the figure changes not just daily, but every few hours. And while these things are happening, the Minister of National Security is telling the people of this country that it is not his job to have you feeling safe. In the area of agriculture, which I shadow as the Shadow Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, the number one issue affecting the industry is that of predial larceny and piracy, the two biggest problems facing our farmers and fishermen. Our fishermen continue to be targeted out at sea by pirates, with only a lucky few managing to escape with their lives. For some time now, the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard, when called upon to assist fishermen in search and rescue effort, say that they do not have any functioning vessels. Last Friday, MP Rodney Charles and Dr. Rudal Munilal questioned the failed Minister of National Insecurity whether there were any Coast Guard vessels operating. This was because our fisherfolk said that they have not been seeing the Coast Guard patrols, and few vessels seen were all parked up. So tonight I am calling on the sleeping Minister Hines to tell us how many patrols took place last week, and if there were none, then he must say why. After they have spent hundreds of millions of dollars to purchase Coast Guard vessels, why are these vessels not patrolling our borders? Why are our borders remaining open? Is there an interest in that of the PNM, brothers and sisters? We must never forget that under this incompetent Rowley PNM, that 7 of our fishermen were brutally murdered out at sea. Those in authorities were informed of the threat of piracy, and they did absolutely nothing to ensure our fishermen were safe. Just last year, 2 more fishermen, 2 sons of the soil of Couva North, Narendra Garib and Parasram Budu, were murdered by pirates, and still they have not done anything to assist our fisherfolk. We must never forget this, brothers and sisters, just as how we must never forget how they left those 4 divers to die inside the pipeline in Paria. Those deaths must be stapled to the incompetence of Rowley and his failed cabinet, and for that, they will pay the ultimate price when the election bell is rung. That is why every community is saying Rowley and his bands of PNM misfits must go. Brothers and sisters, I want to turn to the issue of flooding. Last week, I toured the constituency of Couva North with Councillor Dubraj Prasad and Councillor Rajbal Maraj. I can tell you, my brothers and sisters, it was most heart-wrenching seeing all the damage and destruction experienced by many of my constituents. In some homes, the family lost almost everything. from furniture to appliances to even their limited grocery supplies. However, the most disturbing part of it all was last Friday in Parliament when my colleague MP Indarsingh asked Rowley about what measures were taken in the last 72 hours to help affected citizens. Now, I know COVID affects your oxygen level, but it seems like after 4 times or 5 times, or we have lost count, that COVID seems to now affect your brain and that you have you hallucinating, because this man responded to MP Indarsingh to say that the Ministry of Social Development continue to work with MPs and councillors to provide temporary food relief to those who have lost the food supply as a result of flooding. You hear lie? MP Tanku will tell you that that is lie, because down in that constituency where MP Tanku is from, up to now, they have not seen any sort of help coming from any ministry. Same thing happening up in Grandia, and we congratulate the councillors for being here with us tonight. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell the Prime Minister that it is either he has mastered the art of telling tales or his minister is misleading him. Either way, persons continue to suffer from the losses they incurred as a result of the floods, and the government needs to step up or step aside. They need to stop the lies and take a page from the book of the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa and start to serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. You all remember that day when Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa had sworn in her cabinet? We experienced a massive flood in 2010, right after the swearing-in ceremony. However, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, she put on her boots and went out into the flood waters to bring relief to affected citizens. That's when we had a Prime Minister who cared and who showed love and compassion for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the best Prime Minister that we have ever had, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. However, brothers and sisters, the flooding we experienced last week could have been easily avoided if it were not for the incompetence and cluelessness of the persons sitting in charge. How many years now have we in the opposition been telling the PNM minister after minister, you need to clean and maintain the major rivers and watercourses all the way to the sea. You need to clean the outfall drains. According to MP Tanku, you need to get the floodgates working and you need to get the pumps working. I have raised the issue of cleaning and maintaining our watercourses on several occasions. Outside the Parliament with affected residents and farmers, and inside the Parliament directly with the Ministers of Works and Transport, Rural Development, Local Government, Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. The following video that I want to share with you gives an example of the representation, the failure of all 3 ministries, and the end result that constituents have to face. Let's go.
The maintenance and cleaning of watercourses, etc. With respect to the cleaning of the outfall drains, the YRB outfall and the Macbean outfall, the John Prasad outfall drain. In terms of the program coming forward, the Blackman Trace outfall, as if those are on your program of works for the upcoming fiscal term. Along with the Waterloo outfall drain, that the Johnny Lai outfall drain, those drains definitely need to be cleaned and to alleviate the flooding problems.
Of the neglect and the failure of this government to maintain the watercourses. We are yet to see what is going to happen when all the water from Central comes down to the constituency of Cuba North. If the river course, if the water course are not cleaned all the way out to the sea, this is what happens. The water comes, it backs up, and then the area continues to be flooded out. Yes. I've spoken on this on several occasions to the Minister of Works and Transport, explaining to him that all the water from central Trinidad exits through Cuba North as it goes into the Gulf. And if the river mouth is not desilted so that we will have the free flow of water out into the Gulf, what happens is the water backs up, and this is the end result. Minister Rohan Sinan, we are calling upon you once again to please start doing the job that has been assigned to you, and if you cannot do the job, vacate office and let someone else take up that responsibility. But these river mouths need to be desilted all the way out to the sea. Thank you. And there you see the results of their failure, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, it is a known fact that basic economic theory that if demand is unchanged and supply reduces, prices will increase. So with the widespread destruction of crops from last week's floods, in the coming weeks our nation will face an inevitable shortage in many locally produced vegetables and fruits. In Parliament last Friday, I put a question to the Prime Minister asking, in light of the devastation caused by the floods to farmers' crops because of the poor maintenance of the watercourses, what measures will be put in place by the government to ease the anticipated price increase based on the scarcity in supply? And the response from the Prime Minister was that the flooding was not due to unmaintained watercourse, but because of excessive rainfall and constructed pathways. So according to Rowley, let the rain fall and let the place flood, because the government cannot do anything about that. Totally clueless and shameless. And to top it off, brothers and sisters, the government has three, not one, not two, but three ministers of agriculture. Yet following last week's devastating floods, not a word from any of these ministers. Imagine, we have things such as the giant African snail, which continues to be a pest of epic proportion, not just to farmers, but to households, eating anything in their path. All of the government's effort to stop the snail have failed. With the latest rounds of flood, the snail and its eggs are carried wherever the flood waters go. So there will certainly be an increase in the population of this pest in the coming weeks. Farmers and citizens who have spent significant sums of expensive pesticide will now have to dig deeper into their pockets to prevent this disease-carrying pest from making its way into their kitchen table. The latest threat to our food security, brothers and sisters, is the Tuta absoluta, also known as the tomato leaf miner. It is a pest that has been ravaging through the crops indiscriminately. While farmers have been told to report their presence to the Ministry of Agriculture in order to eradicate the pest, farmers are also told that their infected crops must be destroyed. Now I ask the Minister of Agriculture, what kind of compensation plan do you have in place for when farmers have to cut down their crops because of the presence of this pest? You know, this uncaring ministry has said none. They have not taken compensation into consideration as yet, brothers and sisters. How can you tell farmers that they have to destroy the produce of their toil and investment, their blood, sweat, and tears, without giving any incentive and encouragement to do so? That is because elections have consequences, and we have a PNM government right now who have lost touch with the citizens of the country. Brothers and sisters, they are completely out of touch with the reality of what is happening. I want to quickly turn to the issue of the bridge in the constituency of Couva North, brothers and sisters. The Rupsing Road Bridge in Karapichaima, for which I made continuous representation, incurred severe damages last week as a result of the heavy rainfall and the high volume of water passing through. The foundation has been compromised and the concrete base broke apart. We had swift action with the regional corporation and Councillor Dubraj Prasad to clear the rubble from the watercourse and assess the damages. However, the tonnage have been reduced from 10 tons to now 5 tons. Tonight, I want to use this as an opportunity to once again call upon local government Minister Faris Alwari to act urgently and keep the promise made in Parliament during the Standing Finance Committee when I questioned you on that bridge, and have a permanent bridge installed for the residents of Rupsing Road, my brothers and sisters. One final matter I wish to raise on behalf of the people that I serve, my brothers and sisters, is the Community Water Improvement Project in the Brickfield area. This project was supposed to have been completed months ago, but despite the world of promises and commitment made by the Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez in no less a place than the People's Parliament, this project has not yet started. This issue is beyond disappointing and is now vexatious. The people of Brickfield Village have been receiving WASA bills for dry taps. Yet when the rain comes, the entire constituency is flooded out. It's very sad and unfortunate, brothers and sisters, that month after month, they keep promising this project. We approve the funding, and they are not using the funds for the benefit and to improve the quality of lives of our citizens. So, brothers and sisters, as my time is limited, in concluding, I want to say that we have seen your memes, your TikTok, your Instagram reel, your Facebook posts exposing the wickedness, heartlessness, and cluelessness of this Rowley-led PNM. Keep them coming and do not let up, my brothers and sisters. Let us keep calling out the PNM on their lies and deception. Let us not be afraid of them, because I tell you today, what is yet to come may be 10 times worse than what they have put us through so far. There is no future for our beloved country under this Rowley PNM. The only future and the only hope for TNT is for us to unite under the leadership of the best Prime Minister we have ever seen. Caring and compassionate she is, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Long live our political leader, long live our great party, the United National Congress, and may God bless Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you, my brothers and sisters.
People crying out for justice.